Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today is yet another dupe video. It's the season of dupes just because holidays are right around the corner and the brands are releasing eyeshadow palettes like they're giving out bread. Oh my god, I am so impressed with all the eyeshadow palettes that are releasing in the market, and this baby caught my attention, and I'm talking about the Beaute Bar Recently Deinfluenced palette. I love everything about this palette. I love how vibrant it is, how beautiful it is, how many multi-chromes are included in this. It's been like on my mind from the time they revealed the palette, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not right this moment, but I am super impressed by the quality of Beaute Bar. You know how much I love the Sun and the Sea palette. I use this constantly in my life. So I wanted to dupe the vibes of the palette before I even get it, or if I get it. Let's see how close we can come to this palette. This palette releases on September 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can use the code Smithy Sony to save 10% off. But let's begin duping this palette, because I feel there are some close palettes that you can get the vibes of, especially if you have these palettes in your collection. So let's begin. Also, this palette retails for $69, which I know it's a little bit on the pricey side, but also the palette also has 7 extreme multi-chromes, 1 duochrome, and 7 buttery mattes. For 7 multi-chromes, generally a multi-chrome is like around $16, I would say, like on an average. So even when you calculate the price, I feel like this is pretty reasonable, but also you have to make the decision whether you do have these shades in your collection or not. That's exactly what I'm going to do, and see if I can save some money, because there are so many releases that's going to happen this holiday season. So I want to get like a very conscious decision on what I'm getting into my collection. So let's begin. Oh my god, before I forget, I was waiting for Riley's video, Seeking Shifts. If you have not subscribed to her channel, you need to. If you love indie brands, she's the queen of swatches, comparison, everything. She had this palette and she swatched it, and that's exactly what helped me to dupe my palettes. So I am literally going into that, looking at her swatches and duping it for you guys. That's how I roll. Okay, the first shade in the palette is called Digital Zombie, and this is basically like a purple blue, like UV light, you know, that kind of a shade. I feel like if you do have this like recent palette which was released by Beaute Bar, the Pixie Grove palette, you have quite a few shades from this palette. And this shade that you see, Pixie Dust, is very close to it, It again has that pinky purple iridescent shimmer. It's like an iridescent multichrome basically. Also, if you've purchased the Nightshade palette, I'm going to give you a few comparisons, okay? If you have the Nightshade palette, this iridescent multichrome shade, which is Enchanter, also looks like a white in the pan, but it also has that UV blue purple flip. Both of these would serve your craving for this shade. So let me swatch Enchanter from Gourmand Girls Nightshade palette. And there you go. That's the first shade duped for you guys. And this is duping the shade Digital Zombie. Can you see that UV-ness coming through and that pink and the purple shift? That's exactly what we are looking for. Okay, now let's move on to the second shade. Are you excited? I am. This is another palette that will come in very handy, okay? This is Drizzle MILF palette. You can get a lot of shades from this palette. So the second shade in the palette is called Bold Glamour. This has a purple base with blue pink purpley reflex to it. It's such a beautiful shade, and we're gonna dupe it with this shade, which is called Croaky. So let's watch that. Obviously, you can build it up, you can sheer it out, but this is how the shade looks. Let me swatch it. And super electric and vibrant too. Can you see that purple base coming through and a vibrant blue shift? See? It's a beautiful shade. If you have not tried Drizzle's MILF palette, and especially if you are a green and a purple fan, what are you doing? Because that is amazing. Again, I do have a code with Drizzle too. It is Smithy Sony. It's one of my favorite palettes that Drizzle has ever done. I really love that palette. There you go. The next shade is called Viral, and Viral is basically a very unique multichrome. I have only one shade, so I have to dip into some other palette, okay? This is basically a vibrant multichrome, again an iridescent one that shifts to a fiery red orangey shade. And I'm going to dupe it with the Jewels and the Gems palette from Woden's Eye. A lot of shades. Go to Riley's video, Seeking Shifts video. You will see so many comparisons that she's done with like single shadows. But if you do have this palette, the shade called Swoon will exactly dupe this palette. So let's take that. Again, I've been eyeing this palette just because of, you know, the variety of the shades that you can get with this. Oh my God, so pretty. Like, can you see that? It's so pretty, you guys, so pretty. It's raining outside, so if you hear the raindrops, you need to excuse me. I see so much of green right now, but it is such a fiery orangey red shade. But of course, this is a multichrome, so it shifts to a lot of different shades. Can you see that green? Can you see that orange? Like fiery, reddy orange shade. Oh my God. And there's a lot of like dim lighting because there's no sunlight. As I said, it's raining. But I wanted to record this for you guys because my son and my husband is out for a soccer game. And I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time. I am going to record when there is silence here. Okay, let's move on to the next shade. The next shade is Feud, which is a vibrant orangey yellow shade. And this immediately I knew that if you do have the Simply Posh Cosmetics Genuine Gems palette, this was a very, very hyped up palette. And for a reason, if you like jewel tones, this palette would be right up your alley because this has some beautiful tones and a lot of the mattes from the Beaute Bar palette, you can find it in this. So I'm going to dupe Feud with this shade. And this is called Amber. So let's take that. There you go. So that's duping the shade Feud. I hope you can see that shade, okay? Because in my viewfinder, it seems a little bit more on the darker side just because of the light. But this light is really, really good. I mean, I don't have any artificial lighting, but this is really, really good to see all the shifts. Really pretty. Okay, let's move on to the next shade. The next shade in the palette is called Paid Partnership. I love the names of this palette. Oh my God, so pretty. Okay, the next shade, Paid Partnership, is more of a grungy orange, like a rusty orangey shade, I would say. And that's duped by this shade, which is Topaz, again from the Genuine Gems palette. It has a golden background, so it's very, very difficult to see the exact shade, but that's how it looks. Also, if you have the Pixie Grove palette, it also has the shade, this one, Trickery. So that can also dupe the same vibes of the palette. Okay, so let's swatch that. There you go. So that's duping the shade Paid Partnership. So that's the first row duped for you guys. Let's move on to the second row. The first shade in the second row is called Backlash. And this is also an iridescent multichrome. It has a strong minty flip to it. And this, I'm duping it with the MILF palette again, and the shade is called Camouflage. And this, I mean, again, it looks like a white in the pan, but it has such a strong, vibrant, minty shift to it. And then it has like a blue, green, and pink shift running throughout it. I don't know if you can see it or not. Oh, it's so pretty, you guys. So let's swatch it. I really hope you can catch the shift. Oh yeah, you can. You can definitely catch the shift. It has like that mint to a blue to a pink shift. Can you see that? It's so pretty, you guys, so pretty. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed by me. Okay, the next shade in the palette is called Collab, and this is like a black based multichrome, and this also you can find in the MILF palette, and the shade is called Hop Along. This is my favorite shade in the palette. You can see such a big dip that's happening here. It's like a blue teal green with a purple pink shift to it. Can you see that shifting in the pan? It's so pretty and so smooth, so smooth. Let me show you. If you are a watcher of my channel, you exactly know how much I love this palette. Let's watch that. I don't know how much my iPhone can do justice on these shades. Oh my God, it flips me so much. I can truly see a purple and a pink, and you see like a teal and a blue. Oh my God, I hope you can get the shift. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go, there you go. I saw it for a minute and then it went. Oh, there, see? So pretty. So pretty, so pretty. Oh my God. Okay, stop. Stop, Smithy. Okay, next shade is a matte shade and this is called Drained. I can feel the vibes of the influencer here. The Drained shade is being duped by, again, the Genuine Gems palette, and this is the shade that it is duping with, and this is called Tourmaline. It's like a in between pinky and purple shade. More of purple, less of pink, I would say, but right in between. So there you go. There you go. So that's duping the shade Drained. Those two shades together would be also, those three shades would be lovely. Okay, let's move on. Next shade gave me a lot of trouble. The next shade in the palette is called Fake Famous. I don't think I have such a multi-chrome in my shade, but I'm gonna mix shades, okay? If you have the Genuine Gems palette, I would ask you to mix these two shades, which is Precious and Carrot together. Precious is more of a red shade, Carrot is more of an orangey shade, and that shade shifts from a red to an orange. So if you layer both of these together, it gives you a similar vibe. And I'll show you the swatches on the screen in like the outside lighting or in the inside lighting, how it shifts, because when I did the swatches yesterday to dupe the vibes, I thought I'm coming close, but I'm not coming exact. So I want to do something else today, just because I showed my swatches to Riley, and Riley was like, that's the only shade that I feel like you've not done it spot on. So I wanted to do a little bit of a spot on shade for you guys. I'm going to take my Blend Bunny Primal palette and I'm going to dip into this shade, which is Potent, I think. Yeah, Potent. And this is a red, but it has a lot of orange to it. Not necessarily a duochrome, but let's swatch it. I've not swatched this before, so I'm doing it for the first time with you guys. So that I feel like it's more of a metallic red. So I am gonna swatch like this shade Carrot on top of it. Okay, or should we do Precious? Let's do Precious and see. On top of it and see if we can come close. I don't know. That is a little difficult shade to catch, okay? And that is a red to an orangey flipping shade. I feel like that's how close I can get. I'm sorry, guys. That's the only shade I feel like I am a little iffy about on my dupe choices. And I literally have gone through the entire collection to see all my red shades. I don't have too many red shades, or the multichromes that I have red is generally red to a green flipping shade. So excuse me for that. The next shade in the palette is called Authenticity, and this is more of a garnet red shade. It's more of like a muted deep red shade, and this again is duped by the Genuine Gems palette, and the shade is called Garnet. Can you see that? Again, a garnet red shade. So let's watch that. There you go. And that's the shade Duping Authenticity from the palette. Those are the first two rows duped for you guys. Let's move on to the last row. Okay, the next shade in the palette is called Monetize, and that's a foresty green shade. And this is being duped by this Pixie Grove palette from It's Spell Cosmetics. And this is the shade that it is duping with. And this is called Green Cabin. So let's watch that. This is an awesome fall palette. I already have review on my channel using that palette and creating 3 looks, I think, using that palette. So that's the shade Green Cabin that dupes the shade Monetize from the Beaute Bar Recently Deinfluenced palette. There you go. Let's move on to the next shade. The next shade is called Screenshot. Oh my God, I literally, when I saw this palette, I was like, oh my God, that's such a gorgeous shade. And I don't think I have that shade in any of the palettes, but I found a $3 dupe for that shade. So again, if you are eyeing that palette because of a few shades, let me give you options because that's what we are here for. The $3 shade that dupes the shade Screenshot is from Looxi Beauty, and the shade is called Wicked Witch. And this is a green, like a vibrant green, but it shifts to a strong purple. And that's basically what I have on my center of my eyelid. By the way, I've done this eye look duping the vibes using the shades that I did for this like dupe video. So you'll see it towards the end, but you can see that purple to a green shifting shade. That's the shade. So let's take that shade, Wicked Witch, from the Looxi Beauty. Again, a $3 shadow, but you should see the shift, man. I hope you can see the shift. At least in the pan, you should be able to see. Can you see that? Or is it me? Because in front of me, I see, I'm like, what? Is it purple? Is it green? Is it blue? Okay, let's swatch it. Hopefully you can see it in the swatch because we're doing some juicy long swatches. There you go. You see that green and a purple? It's magic, you guys. It's magic. That's the magic of multichromes. Oh my goodness. I cannot even. Stop. The next shade in the palette is called Energy Vampire. Again, we're duping it with the Pixie Grove palette. And the shade that dupes it is called Woodlot. This deep, dark, wine burgundy maroon shade. So let's take that. This is definitely the deepest in the palette. There you go. And that's the shade Duping Energy Vampire. There you go. My hand is going out of control. Let's move on to the next shade. The next shade is called Depleted. And this is a vibrant red, and it shifts to a golden and a green. And I had to go into my Beaute Bar, the Sun and the Sea palette, because it has a very, very similar shade, which is called Heat Wave. This one, you see that red goes to that golden green shade. Yeah, very, very similar to that. So I'm just gonna swatch this. You'll be able to get the formula also, how Beaute Bar formulas is, because the formula is outstanding and I want everything that they release, okay? I just want everything. Can you see that? Can you see that vibrant red? Oh my God. See, look at that. Oh my God, stop it. Stop it. I want this palette. Oh, this is so, so pretty. I actually had done like last year, I think, in my fall, like how my dream fall palette is gonna look like. I feel like this has all the vibes of how I created my dream palette. I'll see if I can like see, I can capture a screenshot of that palette that I wanted for my dream palette. It looks very, very similar to this. Okay. The next shade in the palette is called Lash Lighting. And this again is duped by the Genuine Gems palette. And this is like a true matte red shade. And this is being duped by the shade called Ruby from this palette. So let's watch that. There you go. And that is the entire palette duped for you guys. Oh my God, do you love it or what? If you are into jewel tones, if you are into grungy, deep, smoky, sexy vibes, oh my God, if you don't love it, I don't know. Can we be friends? I don't know. Just kidding, just kidding. But this is totally my vibes. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. I definitely can see myself grabbing this palette in the future. But again, I do have these shades. So do I need to run out and buy it? Or can I wait for a sale? Or I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much my willpower helps me to stay away. Okay, so these are the dupes that I created using this palette. Let me show you in the outside lighting too how this palette performs and how this palette shifts in the outside lighting, because it has some beautiful, gorgeous shifts and dimension. And I would hate for you not to see that, because this is beautiful, beautiful. And without further ado, let's move on to this eye look that I created using the dupes of this palette. Okay, let's start off with the look. I'm gonna go into my Genuine Gems palette from Simply Posh Cosmetics, and I'm gonna go into this shade, which is Amber. Tapping off the excess and just gonna place that here in the crease. It's a beautiful orangey shade, like a very bright orangey shade. I don't know how much bright it's coming on the camera, but it's just super, super bright. I prime my eyes with the Alter Ego primer, and I did not set it. I'm just going straight on top of it with this shade. In the Bella Beaute Bar palette also, this shade is super, super vibrant. Okay, now I want to dip into this shade, which is Tourmaline. This one, again from the Genuine Gems palette. And we'll take a smaller brush. I have a code with Simply Posh Cosmetics, and I think it's Smithy. I have all my codes in the description box below for you guys. So if you want to try them out and use my codes, it's always there available in the description box. So I'm just going to melt both of these shades together. It's going to look weird till the time the shimmer goes, because right now I'm just looking for the blend in the crease and nowhere else. Just going back and forth and just blending the edges where they meet, just because one is super warm tone and the other is, I would say, warm and cool in the same time. Right there. Now let's go on to the outer corners, and for that we'll start with this shade. We'll start with the Pixie Dust shade, the deeper maroon shade, the Woodlot shade, and we'll blend it with this garnet shade, this one from the Simply Posh Cosmetics palette. So taking that Woodlot shade, and this is like a deep dark eggplant winey burgundy shade. I know, right there. You can totally use this and just call it a day. Just take a little bit more of that garnet shade and blend it across. Okay, now taking the garnet shade and then just melting in between and the edges. And I need a very small bit of it, that's it. Now I'll take a clean blending brush and just blend everything together, just so that there's no harsh lines. So we have like a sunsetty eyes in the crease, and that's exactly what we are looking for. And now we'll go with a contrast on the lids and all the shimmers that this palette is known for, right? But before that, let's finish off with our lower lash line. Okay, I'm gonna take this, let's take this shade, Tourmaline. And I'll build my lower lash line with this shade. And then I'll go with Garnet on the outer corners. Okay, for the shimmers, I'm going to start off with this shade, which is Wicked Witch from Looxi Beauty. You can see a clear flip happening from like green to a purple. It's really, really pretty. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to take that mainly on the center of my eyelid, because I want to take as many shades as I can. But I already can see like the shift happening. Okay, for the inner third of the lid, I'm going to take the shade which is Camouflage from the MILF palette. I'm going to take it on a brush just so that we have a little bit of a precise application going on. And this is like that minty green shade. And I'm going to mix it with that green, teal, blue shade that we applied. It's such a pretty shade. I'm going to go with one more shimmer. There you go. Now for the inner corners, I'm going to take that shade which is Swoon from the Jewels and the Gems palette. I'm going to just apply right there. Oh my god, look how vibrant that shade is. And I'm just going to scoop it with that minty green shade. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to finish off this eye with some liner and mascara. And I'll get right back. And that's my final eye look. I really love the way how everything turned out. I know that this is why I was interested in that palette. I really love the results that I got. Now you guys have to let me know in the comment section below, did I come close to the palette? Do you think that I could help you to shop your stash and to get similar vibes? Or if you could like make your decision on whether you do not have these palettes or these shades in your collection, then I'm super excited for you to try Bella Beaute Bar because I absolutely love their formula. I feel like I use the Sun and the Sea palette so very much. Even for my office, I've used this baby so very much. Like, you know, when I initially reviewed this palette and I said like these browns are like a little bit similar to each other, but I can see myself going for particular browns for my crease when I'm going for a cool tone look or a neutral look or a warm tone look. I really can see the difference on my eyes. Call me crazy, but I really can. And I love these iridescent shimmers. These tones are so very beautiful. I so badly want everything that Bella Beaute Bar releases because their quality is on point. But that's all for today, guys. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this like inspirational tutorial that I could like dupe the vibes of the palette at least from my collection. But if you did like this video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.